In Georgia, as we've been saying, and turnout is expected to break the record in 2020.
More than 300,000 had voted by the end of business yesterday on this year's ballot in the Peach State, proposed state constitutional amendments and a referendum. Local 3 Xavier Harris has the 3 questions you can expect when you head to the polls in Georgia. Xavier?
Well, Greg, Cindy, when you ask some of the Georgia voters in line what's on the ballot, some of them will tell you, I don't know. Others felt like they needed legal assistance because the wording was just too confusing. Now, today I spoke with Brian Tyson with the Clark Hill PLC firm, and he ironed it all out. Besides voting on the next leader of the United States, there are other issues like proposed state constitutional amendments and referendums on this year's ballot in Georgia.
And so issues like this are the chance for the people to express their views and let their voice be heard.
Before heading to the polls, Brian Tyson with the Clark Hill PLC firm says, do your research.
Oh, I think it's always important that voters are fully informed when they go to vote. We always want to have that happen.
And we here at Local 3, we got you covered. First up, the proposed constitutional amendments, the homestead exemption.
And in Georgia, people have had the experience over time of having their property taxes go up when the county hasn't raised the millage rate because the assessment of their home's value goes up.
Tyson says this first item would ensure that a statewide uniform system would be in place from county to county in terms of how property taxes are paid and where homestead exemptions apply. He says voting yes would allow state lawmakers to cap home property assessments based on the previous year's inflation rate. And the second item is the statewide Georgia tax.
Over the last few years in Georgia, we've added several specialty courts that hear certain particular topics like business disputes and tax disputes.
Tyson tells us what a yes vote to this amendment would mean.
Just allow the creation of a statewide tax court that could then work through the normal system and take that burden off of superior courts.
He says the judges in the tax court would not be elected but appointed only. And the final question is the statewide referendum, increasing an exemption from property tax for all tangible personal property.
And what we've had is an exemption for a lot of property, personal property, computers, printers, things like that a business needs to buy.
A yes vote would raise the exemption from $7,500 to $20,000.
So it provides that flexibility for those businesses who've purchased new items and don't have to keep paying taxes on computers and other items like that for their businesses.
Now, Tyson says he knows ballot questionnaires can be difficult to read and understand, which is why he says visiting your Secretary of State website is vital before heading out to the polls. And we have a link on this story where you can access that website. Cindy?